Hello, hello, everyone. This is Dion Blanks with the Economic Empowerment Circle, and welcome back to another Wealth Wednesdays with Dion. Now, today I am joined by Mr. Lamottis, I get it wrong every time.
Lamottis.
Lamottis Woods with DTI Stock Group. And he is with me here today because I received a question last week from an IG viewer, Mr. Wayne. Hey, Mr. Wayne. And Wayne was asking about spreads as it relates to trading. Now, if you've been following me long enough, you know that I am a scalp trader, which means that I am in and out of position very quickly. And I usually use straight calls and straight puts. So whenever Wayne asked that question, I said, you know what? I don't use spreads, but I know who does. So I wanted to call Mr. Woods and see if he would come on real quick and give us an overview of spreads for those of you who are interested. So hello, and thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome. So I'm just going to jump right into it and just ask some questions that might be helpful for those who are interested. Now, if you can tell me, like, I know that you use spreads now, but did you start using spreads at the beginning? Did you just hop right into it, or did you start with just straight calls and puts, and how did you move into that?
It was pretty much straight calls and puts. Just like most option traders, when we're taught how to trade options, we're taught to buy the option for a low price and then sell it for a higher price. Simply be the buyer and then sell it. That's how most option traders are taught, and that's how they start out trading options. But you don't have to always be the buyer of the option. You can actually be the seller of the option. You can actually be the seller. Many traders don't know that you can actually sell the option, and you don't have to have 100 shares to sell the option.
So that's cover calls whenever you have to have your 100 shares.
Correct.
Yeah, so with spreads, you don't even have to do that. And you kind of move to, and you use both, don't you? It's not one over the other as far as calls and puts versus spreads. You use them interchangeably, or tell me how you decide when to use a spread and when to use a call or a straight call or put.
Yes. So when it comes to actually trading options, there are many different ways that you can trade it. There are different strategies. Calls and puts are just one strategy. But just like a mechanic, when a mechanic show up to your house to fix on your car, he's not going to jump out the car and have his screwdriver, wire pliers, drill, one-size wrench, and come to fix your car. First, he's going to get out the car. He's going to come and assess what's wrong with your vehicle. Then he's going to go back to his car or to his work truck or whatever and get whatever necessary tool that he needs to fix your car. And trading options is the same way. Sometimes the market is in a situation where I will use a straight call and put. Sometimes I will use a credit spread. Sometimes I will use a debit spread. And even outside of those spreads, those are just the two foundations, credit spread and debit spread. There are other spreads as well, such as ratio spreads, diagonal spreads, collar spreads, but we won't get that far down the line. Basic credit spread and debit spread. The foundation is a credit spread. See, here's the deal. When you buy an option, and let's say that option expires 2 weeks from now, and it's a call, and that option is where the stock is moving up towards your strike, but it's moving very slow. Any option trader knows that option is losing value. That time decay, that's theta. That theta is killing you. Theta is not on your side when you are the buyer of an option. But if you was the seller of that option, now the role is reversed. Now theta is on your side because you want that option to decay. So you could be the seller of an option. Now, some people feel like that the only way to do that is to short the stock. No, you could be the seller of the option. That's when you have a credit spread. That's a multi-leg strategy that allows you to buy an option and sell an option of a different strike or of a different expiry date. And you could take advantage of time decay. You don't have to own the 100 shares, but you get to take advantage of time decay.
So this strategy works best. Thank you for explaining that. So that works best for those who are looking to swing trade or maybe even leap trade because of that risk that you have with having that contract expiration date out so far. And you don't know necessarily want to set a stop limit because sometimes it can go down 50, 60% and then shoot right back up. And if you have a stop set, it'll hit it and keep on going up without you, right?
Exactly.
So
keep on going
strategy.
Right. So that's a good time to use a credit spread because you want to use that time decay. Then we have debit spreads. Now with the debit spreads, we like to use those when we know that a particular hard move is coming up in a particular stock and we don't want to spend a lot of money on a call or a put, but instead you can use a debit spread. Debit spread give you much more leverage than a straight call option or straight put option. We could use a debit spread and spend $20 or $30, and you could possibly max $500 on that play just because it moved in that direction. And you don't have to worry about putting a stop loss on it because with the spreads, your max loss and your max gain, you already know that before you even enter the trade. So debit spreads, it has its place, and credit spreads has its place. I do them both, and I still do calls and puts. I like to scalp with my calls and puts. But with the credit spreads, I use that time decay. With the debit spread, we use that for leverage because we could spend a small amount of money. And if we're good on the timing or the direction, it could make it a lot. It'll take you from going like on a straight call, you might do good doing 100% on the play. But with a debit spread, it's nothing to do 2,000 or 3,000% on that play because you got leverage.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. That was an excellent explanation to using credit and debit spreads. You're going to have this scalper looking long term, some swings using some spreads. So thank you for coming on here and explaining that to us. I certainly appreciate it. So if you want to get in contact with Mr. Woods and DTI Stock Group, there will be a link below so you can click on and just visit his social media or either go to his credit and spread course so you can check that out. And I might be in there with you. Who knows?
Come on and join us. Because I'm going to say this added thing. A good thing about the debit spread also is that your stop loss is like pretty much already built in. Because you know that we talked about that earlier, right? When you do a straight call or a straight put and you got to stop on it and then you get stopped out, play is over with.
Yes.
But with that spread, it could go down to zero and then come all the way back and take you to max profit. So those are some of the benefits of it.
So that's one thing. That's a huge thing with swings. I don't even like holding contracts overnight because you never know what's going to happen the next morning. You have no idea. You could wake up and everything red. So, I don't even play with that really.
Right.
But if I do, then it sounds like those spreads, it definitely would be helpful because like you said, it doesn't help if you have your stop loss set, you get out of the contract and then it shoots up on you. So
it shoots up, it is over with.
Yeah, it's over with, but not so with spread. So it's definitely something to consider. So that was an excellent question, Mr. Wayne. I hope that helped you out, and I hope it helped out those viewers who are listening. And I thank you so much again for joining us, Mr. Woods. And we will see you all next Wednesday for another Wealth Wednesdays with Dion. Thank you so much, and have a great one.
You too.